Hey, it's a beautiful day today, or at least it is for me. So I just decided to come out here and enjoy the beautiful sunshine, the green grass, the blue sky. There's so many things to be thankful for today. And I'm going to try to think of things to be thankful for instead of just thinking of the bad things in life, like having to be quarantined and having to stay home all the time. I'm a little tired of it. So I'm trying to be thankful today. What about you? Can you try to be thankful for the things you have? I'm also thankful for finding mushrooms. I've been finding quite a few mushrooms, and having mushrooms for supper is so much fun. But what's more fun than eating them is finding them. Have you been finding mushrooms? If you haven't, go out in the woods and see if you can find them. It's a good year for them. The one I found the other day was almost as big as my hand. Not quite, but almost. It was fun finding it. Anyway, I'm going to ask you some questions. We're going to do quite a bit of reviewing today just to make sure you're going to be ready for your test and your quiz. So I might ask the same questions a couple times, but I want you to know these study words. Arguing or disagreeing? Oh, you wouldn't do this with your brothers and sisters, would you? Quarreling. A home for orphans. Orphanage. A child whose parents have both died. Orphan. Feeling uneasy, being anxious, nervous. Do you ever feel nervous about something? Maybe before you come and take your tests, especially if it's a hard one, maybe math quizzes or math tests. Feel a little nervous. Happening often, frequently. A serious happening that needs help right away. Emergency. Have you ever had an emergency? An injury to the brain. Concussion. Do you know of anybody that had a concussion? I know some of you have a grandpa that had a concussion. You'll have to ask him about that. He might have stories to tell. A try. Attempt. Have you ever attempted something that you couldn't do? Well, sometimes I've attempted to do things that I can't do, but if I keep trying, sometimes I can do it. Sometimes you guys say, I can't. And I tell you, I can't died. You have to try again. Partly melted. Slushy. Arguing or disagreeing. Quarreling. A home for orphans. Orphanage. A child whose parents have both died. Orphan. Do you know these? If you don't, you'll have to study some more for your quizzes and your tests. A baby deer. Oh, that's an easy one. Fawn. Feeling uneasy, being anxious, nervous. Happening often, frequently. A serious happening that needs help right away. Emergency. An injury to the brain. Concussion. A group of things gathered together. Collection. Still haven't heard what you collect. A try. Attempt. To start a fight. Attack. Finish this verse for me. It is more blessed to give than to receive, submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of God. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. Again, it is more blessed to give than to receive, submitting yourself one to another in the fear of God. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. That's such a promise. If we call upon God, if we pray to him, he will answer us. Now remember, he doesn't always answer with a yes. Sometimes it's a no, sometimes it's a maybe, sometimes it's a wait. But he always does answer. To start a fight, attack. A try, attempt. An injury to the brain, concussion. A serious happening that needs help right away. Woo, woo, woo. Emergency. Happening often, frequently. Miss Lois says these words frequently. The feeling of having done wrong, guilty. Feeling uneasy, being anxious, nervous. A child whose parents have both died. Orphan. A home for orphans. Orphanage. Strange. Oh, I told you the answer. Do you know what strange is? Not knowing before unusual. The story question was, some fathers in this story did something a Christian father would not do. What was it? Barbossa knew his father would be pleased if he could bring a box of crayons home without getting caught. Would your mom and dad feel pleased about you stealing something? I hope not. I know your mom and dads, they would not be happy with you. They would punish you instead of saying, good job, Bryson, or good job, Logan, or way to go, Mariah and Natalie. They would never do that. His father thought it was all right to steal as long as you did not get caught doing it. A Christian father would not have wanted his son to steal. Let's go back to our study words on page 33. Do you remember the boys' names? You remember how to pronounce them? They're kind of different. Remember, in different countries, they pronounce things a little different, and their names sound different than ours do. Like in Haiti, Nathaniel, that's kind of a different name. We don't hear that name here in the States. Or Gershina, or Ola. That was one of my friends. Madeline. There's all kinds of funny sounding names in other countries. Barbossa, Castillo, caught, guilty, Lozado, and nervous. So the boys' names are quite different sounding, not just common names like Logan and Bryson. They're easier to remember because we're used to names like that. I'm going to ask you a few questions. I don't have a lot, but I do have a few. The story does not tell us what country Lozado lived in, but think of the kind of house he had. Do you think it was a warm or cold place where he lived? Well, since he lived in a house made of posts, mud, and grass, it was probably warm. You couldn't have a house like that in a cold place. You would get too cold in the winter and you would probably freeze. What was the problem in the story? Barbossa and Castillo asked the other children to help them steal the crayons. How was the problem solved? Lozado told the children to bring the crayons to him. So it says time for reading class. If it's as nice today as it was when I videoed this, you maybe can go outside under the shade tree or just sit in the sun. It feels so good. I just want to lay out and feel the sun on my face. But of course you couldn't just lay out. You'd have to read your story or go wherever you want to go to read the story. Let's go to A. Match what was said to who said it. We could take a box. You remember which boy said that? Castillo, yes. We must think of a good way. Barbossa, and you do the rest by yourself. Circle right or wrong to show what kind of choice was made. Let's do the first one together. Lozado went to church even when most of his school friends did not go. Right, of course. You do the rest. I think you can do the rest by yourself. Do you remember what to do if the word ends with a F or a FE? Go ahead and write these on your whiteboard and change the singular nouns to plural nouns. You go ahead and write yours while I write mine. Did you remember to change the F to a V and add ES? I hope so. Keep on doing your best. Tomorrow is your self-check, so make sure you know your verses and what they mean and your study words. I think you know your study words, especially if you answered the right answers